Why are you going back after coming so far now, Robert? Robert was inching back and trying to make a run for it. It wasn't midnight when I agreed to go out on the lake. It was bright day and people were out and about. I don't even know how to swim. Who will save me? You? Come back over here. Nothing is going to happen. Jose got out of the boat for the third time to pull Robert back on it. All right, but we won't go too far. And we're coming back quick. Yeah, sure, hold this bag. What's this? Some things we might need. Don't open it. Don't open it? What do you mean, don't open it? Robert looked at the bank of the lake. They had already come too far for him to jump out of the boat now. He took a deep breath and opened the bag, and as soon as he caught a glimpse of what was inside, his hands shook, the bag fell to his feet, and he began shivering. It felt as if the cold breeze was beginning to blow harder, and slight drops of rain were staining the boat. I can't believe you. We've been friends since we were toddlers, and I have to see this day? What? Jose casually looked around the coast. Did you open the bag? He chuckled. What's wrong with you? How about I give you all of my savings? You spare my life. Jose, I've always been there for you. How can you do this to me? You're my best friend. What nonsense are you talking about? Jose looked at Robert confused. Robert looked down and picked up the bowie knife, net and rope from the duffel bag Jose gave him. You're not going to kill me then? You're such an idiot, Robert. Then what is this for? I'm going to catch it tonight. You mean that? Say it, Robert. Why are you so scared of everything? The Nessie? Yes, we will capture that beast once and for all. There was a sudden thump under the boat. Robert jumped. What was that? Get the net ready and hand me the rope. In fractions of a second, a giant serpent raised out its head from the water, almost tilting the boat over. Opening its mouth to display a series of sharp fangs set one after the other. Its yellow-green eyes shimmered in the moonlight as water trickled down its shiny purple scales. At the sight of the ferocious beast, Jose lost all of his courage and stood there staring into the eyes of the hungry predator. Robert was dropped unconscious. The creature waved its long tail around the boat and flipped itself along with Robert and Jose and it underwater. Soon it was quiet. The Loch Ness lake was still once more. There was no sign of anyone. There was no sign of the Loch Ness Monster. As the day dawned, footsteps were heard scurrying along the bank. Are you sure you heard Jose saying he was coming to the lake? Yes, Mom. What if the Loch Ness Monster got him? Don't be silly. The Loch Ness Monster doesn't exist. Your brother is probably sitting at the fort. Let's go. They walked by the bank of the lake as tiny bubbles floated to the surface and flowed along the still waters of the Loch Ness. The Loch Ness is home to the myth, or is it really a secret reality, of the Loch Ness Monster. It is UK's deepest and most mysterious lake. The waters are dark and many stories are rumored about what lurks in the waters of Loch Ness. We have grown up reading and fascinating ourselves with stories of many monsters on dark rainy nights. The abominable snowman, the Sasquatch, and El Chupacabra, etc. Most of which we know are only bound to the pages of that book. But something about the waters of Loch Ness brings a chill in everyone who watches the still waters, that something has happened here, something bad. There are all sorts of people out there, skeptics, believers, and people that think they know for a fact that Nessie is just a tale. Which one are you? Is the Loch Ness Monster, or the Nessie, only a silly Scottish folklore, or is it still an unsolved mystery? Nessie, the monster, is believed to inhabit the freshwater loch in the Scottish Highlands. The monster is believed to be like a prehistoric aquatic dinosaur-like creature. This monster is often compared to a species called Plesiosaurus. And if we look at the description of both creatures, they do resemble each other. But this theory has been disproved many times over the years. The Plesiosaurus was a cold-blooded reptile, and the environment of Scotland, which is not warm and tropical, would not suit for its survival. Saint Columbo, an Irish monk, was the first to record seeing this Loch Ness Monster in 565 AD. Columbo and his men came across some of the natives who were gathered around the river Ness. When he asked what happened, the people answered a man was swimming in the river when a creature attacked him. Columbo went into the river, and when he came in front of the creature, he showed him a cross and asked the monster to leave the man and go back. The monster apparently listened to Columbo and returned into the waters. The people thanked Columbo and his men and perceived this whole event as a miracle. From this tale, what can be assumed is that it is possible for a man to be attacked by a creature in the river, an alligator or crocodile perhaps, but the rest of the story seems only to be added to emotionally attract people to believe. The story began to spread, and like every story, it got its twists and its turns, and many rumors were shared among the locals of the town. Many believed the Loch Ness was home to not just the Nessie, but to many mythical creatures, one of which are the Kelpies, water spirits that were able to shapeshift into the form of a horse. All these rumors contributed in building an image or an actual presence that many felt of a creature that lurked under the waters of the Loch Ness, which came to be known as Nessie by the locals. These tales and legends of the Nessie date back to 1500 years ago, and it ran from family to family, from generation to generation, until when photos came out of the actual monster that people started to question its existence. In 1934, the Daily Mail newspaper published a picture of the neck and the head of the Nessie, a photo taken by Robert Kenneth Wilson. At first, Wilson did not want to be associated with the photos, and he had taken many of them, but all were very blurry, except for the one that was published. But even that was very suspicious of what exactly it showed. Those who believed took this picture as evidence of the Loch Ness Monster, and those who didn't dismissed the photo as a log or a bird in the water. And by 1990, many began to agree that the photo of Wilson was a hoax. And soon enough, a book named Nessie was published, in which the photo was exposed to be a toy submarine built by the son-in-law of a reporter that worked for the Daily Mail. He had previously written an article about footprints he had found by the Loch Ness River. He sent those footprints to scientists, but was later ridiculed by a number of people and was told it was part of a prank someone was playing on him. To get revenge, the reporter, Marmaduke Wetherell, gathered a group of people who built a model of what would be the Loch Ness Monster and placed it in the river where pictures were taken of it. Robert Kenneth Wilson was the one to take the picture and submit it to the Daily Mail newspaper, and Wetherell was the one to have the last laugh after all, as he convinced the newspaper to publish the story. Ever since then, many people claimed to have seen the Loch Ness Monster, and most were pranks and jokes, while others saw it as a way to get fame and money. Interest in the Loch Ness Monster came to a height when a man named Bertram Mills offered a reward of £20,000 to anyone who brought him the beast. That is equivalent to about £2 million today, but no one was able to bring him the monster or claim the huge reward. As time went by and technology had also developed, many studies were done on the waters of the Loch Ness with sonar, and some objects were detected, but they were all dismissed as rocks or schools of fish, as the water of the Loch Ness is so murky that the images remain to be definitive. Many pictures from Google Street View were used as evidence by people, but they were also disproved as ripples in the water. And as you have probably seen already, there are many documentaries and TV shows that go on a search for the Loch Ness Monster, but all are unable to provide any real evidence other than blurry, questionable pictures. The legend of the Loch Ness Monster still remains to be an unsolved mystery, as people are still out there trying to get a glimpse or capture an image of what they heard from their ancestors. No one may have ever seen the Loch Ness Monster yet, but there is a winner in the whole legend of the Loch Ness Monster. That is the town of Inverness, that's made it on the map as one of the most visited tourist sites, making loads of money off of people who are eager to see the Loch Ness Monster.